Hello, my name's Campbell. Welcome to the 6th lesson in the Percussive Guitar Technique series. In this lesson we're going to be looking at another one of my compositions called Interlude, and this is going to combine some of the techniques that we worked on in lessons 4 and 5. To start off with, I'll play you a short section and then we'll look at everything that's going on in a little bit more detail. Okay. Now what's going on there, basically with the left hand, I'm hammering all of the notes except the first note, which is an open bass E, which I'm actually playing at the same time as doing a bass drum hit up here. So to start off with looking at the notes just there, we have an open bass E, as I said, 7th fret on the E string, I'm just going to play these for now, not hammer them, 10th fret on the E, 9th fret on the A, and the 7th fret on the A. So we get E, B, D, F sharp, and E. Okay. Now all of those notes are going to be hammered with the exception of the open bass E just there. So what you can try and do, just playing the open bass E, is hammer with your first finger onto the 7th, onto the 10th with the 3rd finger, and then a second finger hammers onto the 9 of the A, and then the 7 on the A. Now I use the second finger for both of those notes, because I find my second finger stronger and it gets a much cleaner sound on each of those. Now for the purpose of this song we don't have to move too quickly, so it's fine to use the same finger, and I did experiment when I was composing the song with doing a pull-off, but it didn't quite sound right and I preferred the slightly staccato sound you got with a little gap in between. Now the right hand starts off by doing a click on the strings, fairly straightforward, and then we come over to do a bass drum hit just here, and that's going to be at the same time as playing the open bass E. So the first movement you get is a click and then a thump with the bass E string at the same time. Now whilst you're doing the rest of the notes, your right hand is moving across, so you're playing 7 and 10 just here, right hand is moving across and is going to do 2 taps just underneath the fretboard, like so. So putting that phrase together. Now I recommend practicing each of the phrases in this song individually and then gradually trying to build them up, put them together. So that's the first phrase, and then left hand comes down onto the A string, plays the 9th fret, and then moves across to the 7th fret, and at the same time as playing the 7th fret, you're going to put another bass drum hit in with the right hand, like so. So you get... Okay, now you can cross over some of the phrases, so the end of this phrase can be used as the beginning of the next phrase, so you start with the 2 taps just there. And then you put the whole lot together. At that point, your right hand comes over to the harmonic at the 12th fret, and actually all the fingers are going to get into play just here. We wrap them all down across the strings and finish with the first finger at the 12th fret harmonic just there, which is actually going to let the harmonic ring. But before the harmonic rings, you get that little click. And then the left hand is going to do the same thing basically, but just with one finger onto the harmonic node. Now I'm using my 3rd finger just there, just slapping down onto the harmonic node. Now we're only aiming for the bass E string, possibly the A string, maybe the D string. Okay, now that's probably going to take a bit of practice because whipping your 3rd finger down, especially on the left hand just there, you probably won't get the harmonic ringing quite so brightly at first, but you know, practice it up and it should be fairly straightforward once you get to grips with it. If you're playing on a guitar that has 12 frets to the body, this is going to be a little bit more difficult again because you can't quite get your 3rd finger comfortably to the 12th fret harmonic on the bass E string. So I would perhaps try and use my 2nd finger if that was the case. But if you're playing on a steel string guitar, chances are you're going to be 14 frets to the body rather than 12. So after you've done that, the right hand comes over, and this is going to actually start to grab some notes on the neck just here. We're going to be playing the 9th fret on the D, the G, and the B, although the B string isn't so important, so mainly aiming for the D and the G at the 9th. As you're doing that, your left hand is going to slap the shoulder of the guitar just there, and then come back around and as you're doing that, right hand's coming off. The notes do ring out a little bit as I pull my right hand away, and then right hand clicks twice, and then the left hand is down, ready to start the whole cycle again. So that last part. Now the click click pretty much mutes the open notes that we had just there instantly, but my left hand does actually come down a little bit onto the strings to stop any that don't actually get caught by the right hand. So the entire phrase, and at that point the two clicks put you back to the start, so the last click you do is actually the first click again. So back to the beginning. Now you can just keep that looping around. There is another version of that which, instead of having the hammer on at the 9th fret just there with the right hand, actually uses the right hand to slide, and that's down from the 12th fret. So you play hammer onto the 12th, my first finger is hammering that, and the second finger is reinforcing the first finger. Slide that down. As that's happening, the left hand still does the slap on the shoulder of the guitar, just there. And then back around, left hand comes onto the strings, mutes them, gets ready to play the hammer-ons at the beginning, and the right hand puts the two clicks in. So you can either do the hammer onto the 9th, or you can do the slide. I'll do the hammer on first, because that's the first one that I do, and then I'll put the slide in so you can hear them both together. Now, the speed that this is played at is actually relatively slow, but I find myself, especially when I play it live, speeding things up a little bit, and it is kind of fun to do it fast. For reasons that are going to become apparent when we play the second part, it's usually not practical to play it really fast, just because of all the movements that you've got to do. It's just impossible, and your hands will actually start to seize up because you're working them so hard. So, if you played that at a fast speed, kind of fun, and you can have a bit of a mess around, see how fast you can get that going. When you're moving really quickly, a couple of words of caution, you don't tend to be quite so accurate, so watch out and try not to skid to a stop when you do the bass drum hits and the clicks on the string, because you literally take the skin off your hands, a little bit like grating something, taking your hand down across the strings like that. And also, if you're slightly sweaty and you do that and you hit the guitar just there, you shear off layers of skin. I recently travelled to Japan, and it's slightly warmer over there and slightly more humid, so when I was playing I was often finding that I was actually taking off skin where I wouldn't have been before, just because everything was a bit hotter, I was a bit sweatier, and yeah, these techniques are quite demanding. So when you're going through all of this, accuracy is key. Knowing where your hands have got to be, practicing the movements slowly. You can even practice some of the movements without actually playing, just to get your hands used to where they're going to be at each point, so that when you speed up, put the notes in. Okay, now to finish this section off, we have a wrap across the strings, same as you would have done before, so. But this time we add in a couple more notes, so we play once as normal, and then again with the first finger, and again with the left hand, third finger. And then both hands, this one's going for the shoulder just there, this one's going under the fretboard just there. Now you get a really powerful sound just there. You have to get them both in sync, which is a little bit difficult, and make sure you got your right hand, your right arm on top of the guitar just there, otherwise the guitar's going to move all over the place when you do that. And that would take you into the next section of the song, which we're going to try next time. So, when you're going through all of this, make sure you practice slowly, you know where all your fingers have got to be, and do practice just the left hand part by itself, because the hammering part obviously is going to be a little bit quieter than the drumming, so it's quite easy for it to get lost in with everything else. So you've really got to make sure that all of the notes are as crisp and as clear as they can possibly be. Practice that up, and I will see you next time.